super happy to welcome in our presenter today. Love Erica to death, and super excited to hear about the post Kickstarter and everything going on for Nerdy and Girly, and as it grows and moves. So excited to let you do it. So let's welcome Erica.
So my name's Erica Martin, and I am one of the co-founders of Nerdy and Girly. But before I talk about really the what of what we're doing, I want to get into the why, origin story, maybe villain origin story, to be determined, not sure yet. But I was one of 4 women who graduated from my computer science class back in 2008, which seems like so long ago now. And in junior year, we had a programming class that was considered the weed out class. It had maybe like a 30% rate of success, and most people had to retake that class because it was so difficult. So a lot of us would kind of get together in study groups. I think of it now really like co-working, but getting together where, you know, we'd be in the library or the computer lab. We would all be working on a coding project together but separately. And so after one of these projects, my TA approached me and essentially accused me of plagiarism, which, like, I freaked out because I would never do that. And what it turned out to be is 2 of these male students, who I considered friends, had copied my code at some point during one of those study sessions and tried to pass it off as their own. But luckily, I comment my code in a very specific way. If you do any programming, you might know what I'm talking about. And so fortunately, the TA knew it was my original code and they had stolen it from me. So I had some choice words for my friends, and I confronted them about it. And essentially they said that they thought I would get in trouble, not them, because girls can't code. And so that was, like I said, maybe villain origin story, but really why I have always had this lifelong mission ever since then to do something to give back to kind of girls in STEM along the way somehow. I just didn't really know what that looked like until recently. And so here's a picture of me when I was 10 years old. I was in my elementary school's first computer class. We learned HTML and CSS and did our elementary school's website. So I've been doing websites forever. But I graduated, like I said, in 2008, but in a 2021 study, they found that children as young as 6 years old already believe that boys are more interested in STEM than girls. This is not based on ability, it's just preconceived notion that, oh, STEM is for boys. Girls don't really get into that as much. Not saying they can't, just that's kind of what they think about. So my co-founder and I, Irene Ariano, she's based in Chicago and owns a branding firm. We're both moms, we both love being nerdy and girly, and so we decided to team up back in late 2023 and create this that is going to be very mission driven. I also own Pixel Jam Digital, which is a web development company here in town, among a couple other things that I like to do as well. And so it just kind of seemed like a natural fit since she and I were already working together. So our mission behind Nerdy and Girly is to preserve the spark in kids to celebrate the intersection of being proudly nerdy and joyously girly, because you can do both. We also have this kind of mantra, if you will, that being girly is about the attitude, not the assignment. So really anyone can celebrate being girly. Now what we're doing, our first initiative is releasing a series of children's books called the Proudly Nerdy, Joyously Girly series. And it is celebrating that intersection of being proudly nerdy and joyously girly, showing that kids can and should pursue their passions. So this is a picture of the cover, front cover and back cover of the book. Our main character is Pearl. Pearl is a girl who likes all things pink and pixels. While she has a lot of support from her outside friends and family, she still feels very self-conscious about having this kind of like dual personality and trying to navigate middle school while pursuing her own passions. Pearl is biracial because Irene is Filipino, and so we really wanted to include diversity in the book with Irene's own lived experiences from that. So a fun fact is Pearl is both a programming language that was developed in the late 1970s, and the Philippines are considered the Pearl of the Orient because they have a tradition in pearl harvesting. So we thought Pearl was just like this really cute, clever name for our main character. So some features that we've really incorporated into our book, it's not just like, hey, let's do a children's book. We really wanted to put a lot of thought and effort into it. So it's size 9 by 9 inches, so it's good for little hands. There is large type in it, so as kids kind of are approaching like 6 and 7 and they're starting to learn how to read, they can easily read all of the type that's in there. Full color pages, because I love color, we all love color. They are going to want to read a book that is very colorful. We also have a sensory friendly cover because I love touching things and feeling things and that tactile experience. So it is soft touch with spot gloss. So it's going to be like this nice kind of velvety feel to it. We also have a little pearl on the spine. So again, for those readers who can't read and it's on the bookshelf, they can quickly find pearl, pull it down. And we have a QR code in the back of the book. So let's say a parent's not readily available to read to their kid right away. They can scan the QR code and it will go to a video on our website of us reading the book. It is also going to be not posted on YouTube, so there's no YouTube rabbit hole potential there. It's just a standalone video. So I'm here today because I really want to get better acquainted with Columbia's author community. I've already met some really awesome people and I would love to expand that network. I also want to learn how to get into small indie bookstores and retail shops without having to go through Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is kind of this portal, if you will, for self-publishers, but I don't love how they do their print on demand. You don't get the soft touch. And so I'm looking for other avenues to get in front of people. And also, of course, shameless self-promotion. I want to get connected to more media companies so we can promote our book. Right now, so we've already run a Kickstarter over the summer and sold about 100 books. So we had a successful Kickstarter campaign, which is great. We are going to be doing pre-orders for the books and merchandise on our website starting in October. But like I said, I really want to get in front of small business owners like small retail shops, bookstores, and libraries. Those are kind of the 3 channels where it's still a question mark and I'm learning as I go. So thank you all for coming today. I really appreciate your time. Definitely want to hear feedback, questions, and all that jazz. And if we have extra time at the end, I do have sneak peeks of spreads. I had a proof coming, but it's not going to be delivered till tonight, which I was like, that's okay. I'll look at it anyway. So again, thank you very much.
All right.
7 minutes.
You're fine. You did great. You did great. I didn't have the hook out yet. You were fine. So, all right, we'll open it up for questions and comments. Who's got stuff to, all right.
I would just love to hear about the Kickstarter experience and why you guys chose to go that route and how that's helped you and what you've learned from that.
Yeah, Kickstarter was definitely a marketing tactic. We could have equally just done the promotion on our own, but there's something, like buying into the whole idea of FOMO with Kickstarter, where it's for a very limited time and a very specific platform. So we made sure to offer things that we weren't going to release during pre-orders, just to make it a little bit more appealing to people. Learned a lot with Kickstarter. So really having a, what I'll call list, but a network available so that when you launch, you already have people coming to it. I did not create as big of an online network as I could have, like with an email list or even social media following. Social media following, I know as business owners, is one of those like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. I don't need to do it today. That's okay. But again, like someone has taught me how personal networking is so great. Amanda, that's you. And so I was really appreciative of my personal network and Irene's personal network so we could funnel people in that way. I would say the other thing about Kickstarter is we wanted to be very involved to show activity. So we were posting updates every single day. And we did end up getting the Project We Love badge about 1.5 weeks in. That story to me is funny because I was at the grocery store and I'm glued to my phone, I can't help it. And I got a ding, saw it was from Kickstarter and it just said Project We Love. And so I'm in the frozen aisle like, oh my gosh, I have no one to tell and no one is going to care. So I'll just put my phone back in my pocket and text people. Right, where were you, Christina?
I don't know. I would have ran around.
You weren't at Hy-Vee in like the frozen breakfast aisle.
I should have been there.
So Kickstarter was really fun. We are considering doing it again for the second book, just because again, I think it's like, it was a really neat marketing strategy to lean into, but not without learning curves.
Yeah, and a lot of work.
And a lot of work, yeah. I would say it was always like, day job work, pixel jam work, a little bit of home stuff, and then 2 to 3 hours worth of Nerdy and Girly every night for a month.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot. PC.
So tell us about the division of labor between you and your partner, who did what, and how that all come together.
Yeah, so I wrote the initial story for the book and had the idea. Then Irene and I collaborated to kind of break it down into children's book format. Since her background is in print and design and branding, she could approach it from a perspective of, okay, how is this gonna be laid out on pages? How do we need to shorten sentences and paragraphs? And then after we did that, going through it again and reading it out loud several times to make sure as an adult or the parent reading the book, it's fun to read, there aren't gonna be tongue twisters. I'm sorry, but I don't love reading Dr. Seuss because I was like, what am I trying to say here? We wanted the book to be really fun for adults and parents to read to the kids. Irene and I then did a storyboard of the artwork together and then passed it off to her, and she did all of the illustration. Then we would kind of reconvene and check in on some things together. So at the end of the day, I felt like it was pretty 50-50, but just very different types of work involved. And then I was mostly in charge of social media, so if you comment or something, it's me, and doing all of the marketing side of things too.
That's great. Comments, thoughts? Christina?
So kind of feeding back to Kickstarter, do you feel like there was anything that, I kind of two comments I guess, but in terms of the Kickstarter, do you feel like there's anything you would have done differently with Kickstarter, or do you just feel like it was kind of like a one-shot thing and you just
I would say the biggest thing that I learned that I would do differently is having what's called like a pre-launch page out a lot longer. I shout out to Kickstarter subreddit, but I joined the subreddit about 2 months before launching and learned a lot of good things, especially so having this pre-launch page to start building kind of a following within Kickstarter. And that was something that we only gave it 3 weeks-ish, and I mean, you could do it as long as 6 months. Like, I think having a lot bigger lead time into that would be something I'd do next time.
Okay, and my second comment is, who is more nerdy and girly? Is it Aline or you? Or did I say her name wrong?
Irene, yeah, no. I would say equally, because we had I would say a good 2-hour discussion just on typography for the book. She has a font foundry where she makes her own typefaces, so it was also one of those things okay, we want it to be stylized, but we need it to be classy, and serif fonts are easiest to read, so it needs to be a serif. And so it was very thoughtful and strategic in how we did that. She's also met Leonard Nimoy, which was pretty cool. I think she was in college when she did that. Yeah, we're both equally Lego builders, so we'll have these set discussions about our book, and then we start talking about recent Lego builds that we're doing. So I'd say pretty equal.
All right. Comments, questions, thoughts?
How has the reach been, and did Kickstarter help with this, but how has the reach been outside of our community? Obviously you have her in Chicago, but then has it grown outside of that just based on shares on social media from Kickstarter, that kind of stuff? Like, do you get to see all those demographics from Kickstarter?
Oh yeah, they give you lots of data
That's
and
nice.
analytics, which I'm gonna like.
Of course.
I would say only about 10% of backers were outside of either of our respective networks,
Nice.
which was lower than I thought, but I think there's this preconceived notion that Kickstarter is gonna funnel new people to you, and that is not necessarily the case. Like, the Project We Love badge definitely helped because then it was marketed separately, but we only got 2 backers from that specific, because I would add all these little codes to track where people are coming from. We only had 1 person convert from an ad, like a social media ad, generic social media ad. And so putting that into there was no return on investment there. So it was trying to decide how do we need to change our message to attract people from the outside.
Do you guys have a TikTok?
We do have a TikTok. So you can find us on social. All of our social channels, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are the Nerdy and Girly.
Do you guys have a preview of the book on TikTok?
Not yet. That's what I'm waiting on this proof for. We shared our Kickstarter video, and I've done some kind of behind the scenes stuff. TikTok is one of those things, and I'm gonna pull Jane because I know he can attest. It's hard to be in front of the camera sometimes, and so I know that's going to get more engagement, but I would like to be behind the scenes. We did do, if anyone is familiar with K-pop Demon Hunters, I did a special 3D print for the sing-along movie of like the little glow stick thing and made a TikTok, and so far that was our most successful TikTok. A lot of people wanted to buy it, and I was like, oh, I just made it for my family. Maybe another business.
Yeah.
We say that standing in front of the camera, so
Right.
just FYI.
So there's a bunch of writers groups in town, and I can connect you with those, you know, if you don't have the names of those. And then there's a network, at Skylark Books, they have a map of all the independent bookstores in the
Okay.
Midwest. I mean, so it's this huge network. And
Yeah.
Carrie is on the board of that network.
Yeah, and I have not reached out to Skylark yet. I was thinking, you know, do I want to have the physical book with me so I can say, hey, you can look at it? A couple of other people who are already in my network, I've just sent them the proof PDF because they feel comfortable just looking at, you know, a digital copy of the book to see if it's something they want to carry. But since I don't have a relationship with Skylark, that's where I'm thinking, like, I need to be able to give them a book to review. And I don't know if, like, some bookstores will say they only buy if it's an Ingram Spark.
Yeah, I don't think that's true for.
Which, yeah, it might not be true for everybody, and so that was my hold up, or just an excuse I'm making up for myself to not reach out. One of those two.
Why don't you make an introduction?
Yeah, that would be lovely.
She's
Thanks,
also a
guys.
soul seeker.
Oh, perfect.
So, and then my other question was about STEM teachers.
Mhm.
Is there so have you reached out to other networks of STEM?
Not yet. Trish Ketting gave me a great connection to Columbia Public Schools, to the parents as teachers. I guess you could maybe, but I haven't reached out to anyone specifically at Columbia Public Schools yet. I do have she's actually a client who teaches at the, was it the nature school with CPS? And so she's someone I might, Boone County Nature School?
Yes.
Yeah, so I might pull her in and ask her too, which she's aware of the campaign. I just haven't made a formal ask.
We'll go Sharice and then DC.
I was curious if you considered any national collaborations with other influencers or people in the tech world to sponsor you.
I want to. That is, I've started following certain people that I would love to collaborate with and just like on Instagram engage with them just so it's like I exist. But I've tried to figure out how to go essentially paying them for some type of sponsorship or, you know, something along those lines. I know there's some software out there where you can connect with people, but it doesn't seem to have the demographic I'm looking for. Irene does have a celebrity acquaintance who, or like, the celebrity's husband owes her a favor, and so I'm trying to convince her it's Paris
This should be
Hilton.
the favor.
It's Paris Hilton, so that would be like, wait,
And she's got kids.
right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's
And
gonna
the thing
happen.
is, her husband's like a big business owner. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So maybe, but also I know that's a big ask to
Not
make, and so like,
Sharice?
There's
Yeah.
someone on the spot, but there's a certain name in town who's a very woman in tech person. Have you reached out to her?
no, I have not.
Can we help you with that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Will do.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can help you with that.
DC.
So how many books do you need to, not that you wanna make a lot of money, but to be profitable?
Oh, I had a spreadsheet for that.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, so the book quoting process was really interesting. I'm gonna be transparent and say we are printing overseas. We are doing a run of 2,000 books, which is like a lot to me, but not a lot to regional or national vendors. They all wanted quantity of like 25,000, 50,000. So a run of 2,000 books, we would have lost money on every book. Like I said, the price point is, so we're retailing it for $17.99. We're gonna wholesale it for $9.99 because that under $10 price point was something a lot of people said was going to be nice to see when they were buying the book. And so pricing everything out right now after like costs, shipping, income tax, you know, all that jazz, we're gonna each make about less than $5 per book. So it's not a money-making machine, which it wasn't set out to be. It was more mission-driven, but again, I don't want to lose money on something like this, and so it was very one, it was very hard to make that decision, like, we're gonna go overseas to do this, but also have to be realistic.
So, just an idea.
Yeah.
You might consider just giving the Columbia Public Library 2 or 3 copies.
Yeah, I
and
was
then let
definitely
them
considering
Look
that.
at the volume that they're using, they may decide, hey, we need to buy 20 books.
That would sound great.
Checks out, you know.
And I do have a connection at the library, I just have not reached out to her yet.
And they order more depending on how many people have it on hold.
Oh,
So-
that's good to know.
So tell all your friends to go in
Yeah.
and say, hey. I
Request
need-
it.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about book marketing, but it's so different for children's books too, is what I'm finding.
Evan.
2 things. One, a comment. Your 46% discount there is perfect.
Awesome.
You've done your research. The distributors, larger ones I've seen, may look for a 50 to 60% discount from retail, and you may already know that as well. When it comes to distribution and marketing, kind of building off what Sharice said, strategy that I've heard of, read about, print like 50 to 100 books, make a list of influencers, celebrities who you can send those books to with a letter, ones who may have shared values, ones who would definitely have shared values.
For sure.
Highly targeted, and see if there's a way that you can incentivize them to help distribute, help market it.
Yeah.
They get a kickback, or if it's a celebrity, someone who is world, like around the world,
Right.
maybe equity, I don't know. That is something I've read about being very effective.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
How do you get their address?
If they have a, that's a good question.
I'm gonna,
I can help.
it's okay.
It's hard. I won't do that.
You gotta hope their agents are into it, right? So, right.
If Christina can find it, then she might have herself.
Yes, mine too.
Different business model.
Christina.
Oh, you had recommended me to a writer's retreat that I
Yes.
actually went to.
Oh, you did go.
I actually went.
Good.
And they were talking about how you can leverage subreddit to expand your market. So when a lady that was speaking to us talked about her Jane Austen Connections series on subreddit, or Substack, which led her to actually creating a book. So that might be another avenue to kind of like expand that digital presence, and you can like label like the type of intersect technology, women empowerment.
That's cool, because I have not, I am only vaguely familiar with Substack, like I haven't really gotten into
I can
it yet.
vaguely help you based on what I learned, but there's definitely some ladies in that group that have a lot of experience in
Cool.
it.
Casey.
I love your whole mission here, but your mission reminds me of like Girls on the Run, that organization, so I thought, oh, that'd be a really cool partnership just because it's like girl empowerment. But then I was thinking, your level for reading, you said like this is for like children that maybe their parents are reading to them, so then I was like, oh, so who is this targeted for?
Yeah, it's kind of like 3 to 7. So the older kids could read, I say older kids, like the 6 and 7 year olds could read it independently. Or like, I know my son still liked having a bedtime book when he was that age too. Or like the younger kids, when you're reading a bedtime story, it could be read to them. So like we're blessed with that we have hundreds of books for our kids. So they can grab books off the shelf anytime, but we do nightly bedtime stories. So like, sometimes I steer them to the book I want to read, not the book they want to read per se, like those Dr. Seuss books. But so that's why it's kind of that wider age range of, it's very colorful and visually appealing for a younger kid, but simple enough to read for an older kid.
Yeah, are your thoughts of like kind of change, I mean, as you scale to get to, because I'm thinking the ones that would really be more interested in STEM would be a little older than 7,
Yeah, I have kind of started writing a graphic novel base, so more for like the tween age, maybe like 9 to 12. And so, I mean, I am nowhere near finished with that, like just got started. But my thought too is like, if they read these probably Nerdy Joycely girl stories as a young kid, then they could graduate to the graphic novel when they're a little older.
Pat.
The Unbound Book Festival, are you familiar with that?
I'm familiar, I've never
Oh,
participated.
it's a great place to, resource for people that are publishing and I knew they've had a young adult section, I don't know if they have young children's, but,
Okay,
so, and they're continuing to grow, even though Alex is, not here anymore.
sure, yeah.
And then Dolly Parton, is she a source?
So I know she has the Imagination Library. I have not looked into that. Someone else suggested that, and that feels very daunting to look at.
Whoever your parents-teacher connection ends up being will be able to connect you more.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's a no-go
Oh,
because
thanks.
they work with a specific publishing company.
We just had to self-publish.
All right, Jason, and then back to Amanda.
I'm sorry, I missed your presentation, but I've seen it before, and I know you also have a passion. You already admitted it's not really about making a bunch of money; it's about impacting people. There are organizations like, I'm going to throw out True North, CASA, Coyote Hill, a lot of nonprofits, and if we got in the hands of the right parents or people in these establishments, so I would want to know. I would commit to basically buying and donating it and getting these into some of these organizations' hands. You got to believe they have like a library of books and things, but I want to throw that out there as an opportunity maybe for people. So almost a sponsorship standpoint, to where you by purchasing, you get them into the right hands and impact people's lives.
That would be amazing. We did have a friend of the family. She is in Memphis, Tennessee, and we had like a special 10-book pack. Oh, I forgot to talk about the classroom sponsorship. Anyway, we have a 10-book pack, and so she bought it to give to this nonprofit that creates third spaces at laundromats, and so there's like little libraries and toys and all these things. So while families are doing their laundry and they need to bring their children, there's like a safe space for them to engage. And so that is something I would love to like get into because I think that would be great.
We have a little library at Liberty, and we check books out to patients, and I would put one of these on the shelf for a pediatric.
That would be fantastic.
Just one?
Let's see how it goes. I'm fine.
No.
One of the, if you talk to JC at Town.
Oh, we are going to do a book reading
Okay.
an event, yes.
Yeah,
in
and just
December.
like almost like hopping around to the libraries, which then leads into, well, this isn't a huge moneymaker, and you have your full-time business,
Right.
and you have your home life. How do you ever like just get so excited about this? You're like, see you later, or like, how are you? I want to say balance. It's not the right word, but how do you do that as a full-time business owner with this? It's a lot of input with not a lot of output yet,
Right.
while also being a present parent.
Whenever I think of that, I push it away because I don't want to
Of course,
process it
yeah.
yet.
It's fair.
Is the real answer.
Yeah.
Because I'm still trying to find that balance. Like, my daughter has a kindergarten picnic tonight, and so I worked a little bit extra yesterday to make time to be available for that. So I think it's right now just planning out my priorities. I'm so nerdy, we have a weekly family meeting with a presentation and everything. The kindergartner says this show is boring every time I put it on the TV, but the middle schooler kind of appreciates it. So like, then we can look at everything as a whole and like, okay, I want to make sure I'm available for this, so let me move, I can move things around and know how to do it. Do I have a solid answer on how to do it forever? No.
Yeah. If the book is there, you can take that to the picnic and be like,
That's true.
oops, where did this come from?
And eventually, I totally plan to drive around with just like a box of books in my car and my square, just to be like, oh, I have a book right here.
Any item producer, entrepreneur there will be a box in the trunk. Yes, guaranteed, guaranteed. We'll go Lisa and then Aaron.
Okay, so I think there is a Girls Who Run type organization.
Yes,
Girls Who
I don't know who
Code.
the current executive director is.
Girls Who Code.
Yeah, and then there's Girls Who Game, which I am connected with them, and Columbia STEM Alliance I'm connected to.
Yeah, I was thinking they would be great. Also, there's definitely some podcasts that I think might be good. I can send you some names of things that will host women who are doing things, related to kids or whatever. And I think your presentation would be really a great short introduction to why should you steer your kids, your girls, or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Also, definitely conferences like Educator. I'm sure in the summer or other times of the year there are lots of STEM teacher conferences that maybe, your presentation would be perfect for that, just the part of it about why.
Right, yeah.
The research about why kids don't get into this, and then, you probably couldn't overtly sell the book, but by the way,
Yeah, and our thought process is by selling the mission, which we know a lot of people can get behind, it will sell the book, yeah.
For sure. Mr. Aaron?
First of all, welcome to the family. To the author family. Second of all, you do not print your books overseas. You work with an American company that may or may not print overseas.
That's true. Our point of contact, like the company, is technically in Utah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's because I'm thinking about using them too. I want everybody to know it's an American company. And then, third of all, do you, Meg and Judy, that used to be on KOMU, they have, her and her husband Cliff have a.
Yeah.
They sold it.
They sold
They
it.
did sell
yeah.
it. Okay.
I don't know who the
Shirts
current
and
owners
stuff.
are. What was that called?
I
But
have the
she
shirts in the closet.
is, she's no longer in the media, but she would be a perfect contact for you to talk
that's
about
true.
the process and hopefully get you connected with some people.
I just played poker with Cliff. I'll get you connected.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you let him win?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Of course. It was my first time had we played.
I know there are lots of education associations, so drilling down to the Association of Early Childhood Reading or something like that, or Missouri School Boards Association for that matter, get in front of those folks, and because STEM is important for
Yeah.
public education, and I think you're on topic with that, with your book.
That's a great point. I think, I want to say I was introduced to someone at the Missouri School Board Association, but there was like they had like a personal thing going on, and so I didn't fully get connected with them. So, mental note for me to follow up.
All right, can you stick around for a few minutes after?
Yeah, and
Can
I was
we
gonna.
see the sneak peeks?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was a question.
So this is the intro page of Pearl, kind of celebrating both of these sides. I really like the alliteration of Pearl has a passion for pink and pixels, just to kind of kick things started. The whole thing does not rhyme, I will say that. That was just kind of the intro. This is our cover spread about how she likes to game. That might or might not be based off of Minecraft, but essentially, like we're really big into Minecraft because it, like not online, but talking about like geospatial awareness and geometry and kind of these 3D things, and so we added Minecraft in there. Oh, also there are going to be subtle Easter eggs, if you will, again throwing back to Filipino culture. And I forgot the name of this pattern on this rug, but this rug is a like traditional rug in the Philippines. So not something most people will know, but we've like really tried to add those aspects to it. And then this is kind of towards the end where she's, you know, really experiencing that inner conflict of like, is she too nerdy to do this thing? Is she too girly to do this thing? Should she even try to do it? And so really wanting, again, to represent this inner conflict, like her friends are supportive, her family is supportive, but she doesn't know if she can do it. All right, that's the last one. I didn't know how many there were.
Congratulations and big thanks to you, Erica. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for everybody else being here on a Wednesday morning. Don't forget, tell a friend, bring a friend, and we will see you several of the Wednesdays coming up in the near future. We appreciate y'all being here. Thank you.